York, here's Sander Van Oker.
Over the past 2 weeks, the value of the U.S. dollar has risen sharply against both the West German mark and the Japanese yen, while gold fell to its lowest level in almost 3 years. Even a concerted effort late this past week by central banks failed to halt the dollar's upswing. At a time when U.S. interest rates appear to be stabilizing and there are more signs our economy is slowing, why the run-up? For an answer, we'll turn to this week's Business World guest, First Fidelity Bancorp Chief Economist Mickey Levy, who joins me and my colleague Stephen Ogg from our bureau in Philadelphia. Mr. Levy, why is the dollar going up?
Well, we've really had an appreciating dollar all year, and there are several reasons. While inflation is above desired levels in the United States, it's rising faster, and fears of inflation are rising higher in both Germany and Japan. Therefore, that puts downward pressure on the yen and the D-mark relative to the dollar.
Is this good or bad for the United States economy?
Oh, it's really quite good. An appreciating currency reflects a stronger standard of living.
Well, that's true, but what does it do to our exports? At what level does it really hurt?
The rising dollar, no doubt, will lead to a slowdown in exports. Yet, I believe, despite the slowdown in exports, the trade deficit of the U.S. will continue to recede all year long, but due to slower consumption of imports rather than accelerating exports.
A couple of weeks ago, the monthly survey of the Federal Reserve Bank districts showed an economy that was indeed slowing down. In fact, the person who wrote it, I guess the chief economist in Minneapolis, said it was slowing to a sustainable pace. A word term of art. Is the economy slowing to a sustainable pace of growth?
There's no question that the economy is slowing. My perception is that it will slow much more than the Fed wants it to, and that the rate of economic growth, not just in 1989, but through 1990, will average about 1%, which is substantially below where the Fed wants it to be and also where the administration wants it to be.
Well, what does that mean in terms of unemployment, if you look at it that way?
Well, you're going to see some uptick in the unemployment rate and a rather sharp slowdown in the rate of growth of employment. So we're seeing a cooling down of the economy, and this, of course, puts the Fed in a tight box in that we will have weaker than desired growth and higher than desired inflation through this year.
Mr. Levy, isn't this the problem? Absent a fiscal policy by the Congress and the President, instead of the sham we've got there in Washington now, doesn't this put too much of a burden on Alan Greenspan?
It puts a tremendous pressure on the Federal Reserve, and what happens is once the economy starts to slow down, inflation does not come down right away. And I would encourage the Federal Reserve to remain relatively tight, hoping for a soft landing rather than a recession. And with a lag, beginning in 1990, the rate of inflation will begin to recede.
How much is political turmoil in the world, not just Japan and West Germany, but ancillary, China and Russia, contributing to people putting money in this country?
Well, it certainly helps, and I think what's happening, particularly with the Soviet budget, is playing in